All right, so new Kendrick Lamar interview just dropped. He done it with Apple Music, Nadeska, and Ebro. I think Nadeska had the best questions. She was really prepared, and she asked about the music, which is what I care about the most.
In your work for the past 15 years, like Ebro said, going all the way back to projects like Overly Dedicated. And so,
Oh, D shout out, great.
At the halftime show 3 years ago, we already felt like that was the most hip hop, beautiful halftime show ever. And now for you to come back and be the first solo hip hop artist to headline, how does it feel being the artist to hit that milestone? And just your thoughts on what that means about hip hop's progression and impact over the years.
That shit, it made me think about like the grind of it. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't see like the story before the glory, man. And that shit's like shuffling out your mixtapes and, going to neighborhoods and parties and performing there, hole in the wall spots. It reminds me of the essence and the core response of rap and hip hop and how far it can go. So for me, that should mean everything because it puts the culture on the forefront where it needs to be and not minimized to just a catchy song or verse. This is a true art form. So to represent it on this type of stage is like everything that I've worked for and everything that I believe in as far as the culture. Like I live and die by it. This shit done changed my whole family life, so I don't take it for granted at all as far as the art form,
I love the Overly Dedicated shout out by Nadeska. I go even further back, Kendrick Lamar EP. But I think a lot of their journey with Kendrick Lamar started at Good Kid, Mad City. And then even like a lot of people, or it started with Section 80. I feel like a lot of people forget about Overly Dedicated. Some of Kendrick's best songs are on Overly Dedicated. Songs like Average Joe, Ignorance is Bliss, some of his best songs to this day are on Overly Dedicated.
Feels like that was a lot what this year was about too, right? Like you I guess, you took it and put it on your back and you felt like a line needed to be drawn, right? Was that your intent when you rolled out this year? Was like, yo, I'm drawing a line. Like, this one it is.
My intent was to always keep, I think from day one was to always keep the nature of it as a sport. I don't care how motherfuckers look at it as far as like, as a collaborative effort, that's cool too, but I love when artists grit their teeth. Like I still watch battle raps. I still watch Smack URL from Murder Mook to Lux to Tay-Rock, my bro Daylight. This has always been the core definition of who I am, and it's been that way since day one. So I don't think it was a thing for this year. It was always just a continuum. And what I will say about this year, it was more from a space where I think a lot of people was putting rap to the back, and you didn't see that. You didn't see that grit. You didn't see that bite anymore. So I always took that in consideration in going into any type of music.
What I think Kendrick means by people were putting rap to the back is, 2022, 23, and 24 before the whole Kendrick and Drake thing popped off, rap was kind of falling in the charts. We would go months and months, almost a year without a rap song, number one rap album, until Uzi Vert came with the Pink Tape joint, till Doja Cat came with the Paint the Town Red joint. So hip hop was falling and teetering. And it's going to be interesting to see how hip hop, if it stays on top, because I feel like the Kendrick and Drake thing really, I thought 2024 was going to be a straight parse, dull year for hip hop, because 2022 and 2023 were like that. So I thought 2024 was going to be the same way, but I think the Kendrick and Drake thing kind of saved it, added excitement to it. Look how much content, even us as creators, YouTubers, look how much we're still getting off of it. This happened 8-9 months ago. We still getting weekly content from it. What would we be talking about if that didn't happen? You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how hip hop moves forward as this beef kind of dies down after the GNX tour and all that.
We've been following your journey for about 15 years, and you have been so consistent in the messaging and the focus, like you said, and you've always moved with integrity. So in a lot of ways, I feel like we thought we knew exactly who you were as an artist in a positive way. And then last year, it felt like you unlocked a whole new dimension for us. But that person, like you said, was always in there. But I'm wondering, do you still surprise yourself sometimes? Did you surprise yourself last year, or was it just us, the fans, with our jaws on the floor, just stunned?
And I think that's a great question by Nadeska. I'll get to the question. I know you don't want to see the response is not me yapping, but I got to do my yapping for fair use. Otherwise, the video will get copyright. I think that's a great question because Kendrick actually did surprise me. As someone who's actually been listening since 2009, the Kendrick Lamar EP, he did surprise me with what he did to Drake because I had never seen Kendrick in that arena before. I never seen Kendrick battle rap anybody. I didn't grow up with this guy in Compton and seen him battle rap guys on the corner. I seen Drake battle dudes and win though. I seen that. And I seen Drake lose before to Pusha T, but I never seen Kendrick do that. So like, to be honest, Kendrick did surprise me. And this is me as a longtime listener.
That's a good question. Surprised myself? Nah, I don't think I surprised myself because this, for me and for my partners that's been around me since 2005, 2006, like my brothers, they know my personality. They know my capabilities, even when it wasn't presented to the public at first, right? So this is just like a revolving door of what I've been doing in Carson Studios, at the Homie Garage, or my brothers at TDE, or just anybody around the city of Compton in LA. It's just magnified to the level where I progressed it and did enough hours to know, okay, I know where to place it now. I know how to make it connect with people.
It feels like each album, too, getting to this point was like, it was an album for the culture, and it was an album for the critics. You know what I mean? And then it was for the critics,
Yeah.
and then GNX comes along, and it's like, nah. This is an album for anybody, everybody, and anybody who want it.
Yeah, the energy was different. I like that question by Ebro too, because this is like something I've said about GNX. All of Kendrick's other albums are thematic, they're conceptual. There's like a story that's being told, whereas GNX is not like that, for the better or for the worse. Personally, I think this is what we needed from. This is what I wanted, not what we needed, but this is what I wanted from Kendrick: a more casual listening album, especially at in the context of everything that happened. But I like that Ebro's pointing this out.
At any time. And you brought that energy. And the energy you brought on GNX was an energy that I don't think was really happening in hip hop. Like, it's a Public Enemy level energy. It's a Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted energy.
For sure.
Like, it's a classic, timeless energy. Talk about your headspace between Mr. Morale and this GNX.
Yeah, no, that's great. Go back even further, man. Speaking on the energy, like it's my cousins was like DJ Quick, and Dre, these folks.
Love the DJ Quick and Dr. Dre shout outs. DJ Quick does not get enough love. DJ Quick, Battle Cat, great producers from the West Coast.
My people was playing, so I always had that DNA, and you heard that DNA a little bit on Good Kid, Mad City, but I wanted to tell my story first, right? And
And that's something Kendrick also says. I'm glad I'm hearing this stuff in this interview. Kendrick always said from the beginning, from the Good Kid, Mad City rollout, this is an album about me. The album before it, Section 80, I'm telling y'all story. Y'all, like the listeners, the people, my community. Good Kid, Mad City, though, this is the album, my story.
fast forward to GNX, I felt it was just a perfect time because not only the energy was lost, but it was an energy that was bubbling inside of me as well. I wanted to go back to the forefront of just the bite and just the grit of rap, just all raps and hard-ass beats. And that's like the basics for me. I thought about, damn, what I used to like when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Hard raps, good beats, that's smacking, right? And it was a great transition from Mr. Morale because that was my most intimate. I wanted to go inside of my own psyche and my own personal withdrawals and see how it connects with the public and who can relate. So during this time around, I think it was necessary coming out of that cocoon and feeling like, okay, I arrived now. I can spread my wings and show every state of who I am as far as Kendrick Lamar.
And I like that he used the word basics for GNX. It really was just bringing it back to basics. That's a better way to put what I just said a couple minutes ago. I felt like the album I wanted from Kendrick after all this context of what happened in 2024, just bring it back to the basics. Now, after I heard GNX, okay, now let's come with another conceptual joint. You know what I mean?
And you really did spread your wings. I mean, you just came off a huge Grammy wins. You walked away with 5 awards, and you won Not Like Us won for Song and Record of the Year, which in itself is remarkable. But I think for people who love and respect hip-hop and the roots of this culture, the competitive spirit of it, it has been a little bit mind-bending that you created this massive cultural award-winning anthem.
No, for this record.
Battle of Raps.
Yeah.
And how is that something, after you got off that Grammy stage, got home in some quiet time, what was going through your head?
I was just thinking about the culture, really. First, I'm not even bullshitting with you. It's like, when people talk about rap, man, the conversations I hear, they think it's just rap and it's not an actual art form.
Yeah.
So when you put records like that at the forefront, it reminds people that this is more than just something that came 50 years ago. They forget that it's even been here 50 years, right? And kind of belittle it. So I love to see that it gets that type of recognition for you.
And rapping has been around longer than hip hop. I have a vinyl from a group called the Watts Prophets, and I'll show it at the end of this video. Record is called Rappin' Black in a White World. And the Watts Prophets, they're kind of like adjacent to the Last Poets as a group. If you know, you know. So rap, and that album is from the 60s. So yeah, rap has been around longer than hip hop.
Just straight raps from awards to the billboards, all that, because this is truly just as big as an art form and a genre as any other genre. So that's what I think about, and I feel accomplished being able to do that, You know, whether somebody else come behind me and do it again and quadruple it, I'd love to see it. If that was my purpose to do that, then that's exactly what it was for that particular moment.
I think people often miss the significance of that Record and Song of the Year award, because that Song of the Year award is a songwriter's award. Like, it's not just the biggest song. It's like someone wrote a song. And you as a songwriter, when you see your name up there and it's written by Kendrick, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And I think to what you're saying, I think there's a lot of people who have become fans of hip hop, and they, you know, you like the songs you hear and know, but you're not actually tapped into the work that it takes for you to generate the output, the art.
Exactly.
And I like that Ebro's framing Kendrick as a songwriter, because that's how I view him. Kendrick has always had really great songs. Even when he was first coming out as Kendrick Lamar, he's always had, that's what always stuck out to me. Like, this guy can take a concept and write a great song. And then you look at all the people Kendrick has written for, writing his own albums and writing on other people's albums, and then still giving them hits and records that he could have blown up with. But then still going and writing his own stuff, and it's still fresh concepts, new concepts. Like, Kendrick is one of rap's great songwriters.
Exactly, man. As
All
a
time.
writer, you know, and that's what I can appreciate the most. And knowing how much time I dedicated over the years and just trial and error, writing the most terrible shit to some of the greatest shit. You know, we all do it, from writer's block to figuring out how to find inspiration from the most non-popular aspects around me. So it's like, knowing that trial and knowing what I put in as far as my thinking process and what it takes to get there, I do not look at it as a small, like, endeavor because it's a hit record. No, it's actually some writing in that shit. You know, whether it connect with you on a spiritual level, whether it connect with you on a comedic level, whether it connect with you just on a personal dynamic, it's still from a writer's point of view. I want that energy to, you know, ooze out into the televisions and to the people that's in that building. That's the LA energy for me. That's something that I want to carry over to
life and art in a holistic way. And so when it came down to planning for the Super Bowl now, you know, you've teased on the album coming up to New Orleans with this LA energy. How did you guys approach the show and trying to figure out how to pay tribute to the classics in your catalog with this new music in like a 13-minute set list?
Yeah. It's wild. Miss Morale is like an hour and 30-minute tour, so it's like you got to smack the shit down all the way to 13 minutes. It's kind of wild and it's interesting because it lets you know kind of where you at and your perspective on how you think about cataloging the music. For me, I love being present. I love being present, man. It's my favorite. It's very hard for me to live in the past. It's very hard. I respect the past wholeheartedly, but being in the now and being just locked into how I feel and the energy I have now, that's the LA energy for me. That's something that I want to carry over to New Orleans and for the world to see. This is me. This is Kendrick Lamar, 37 years old, and I still feel like I'm elevating. I'm still on a journey, though, you know? And I want that energy to, you know, ooze out into the televisions and to the people that's in that building.
Well, and on that, you know, the connection between black culture and New Orleans and how important and shaping our ancestors were in this town.
Yeah, musically, New Orleans is like, musically, when you talk about black music, or if you're talking black music, you're talking about American culture, not just like we have shaped all of what America listens to, from house music to country music, rock, hip hop, jazz. New Orleans is the hub of all this. New Orleans is one of those cities, it's like an LA, a Harlem. It's very culturally, a lot of great cultural things happened there. So, especially musically, like with jazz, and a lot of great things musically have come out of New Orleans.
Music, jazz, all that. You always put our culture and black culture at the forefront of your brand, your music. Same thing in LA. A lot of our family members moved out to California from the South for new opportunities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Big connection between LA and the South. So
Yeah.
you say you walked in to New Orleans with that LA etiquette and all of that. I don't know if people really grasp that, but you got to be feeling that energy
bar.
like when you are out ready on Sunday to do your thing.
That's a bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, bro. Out of all my friends, LA, us growing up, all our grandparents either from Louisiana, Texas,
Yeah, facts.
Chicago, like, period. So I
Mississippi.
and how we talk, it gauges from like the South and like the Bay Area. So
Yeah.
like going to the
And that's facts. That's facts. I like that. Kendrick, shout out the Bay Area. The Bay Area, like I always say, a Bay Area is like, to a person who's from LA, people from the Bay, that's like our bad older cousin or our bad cousin who come over and they always get us in trouble. But, you know, every time they come over, it's super fun. You have a good time. Like, the Bay Area is also one of those little pockets where a lot of things happen culturally. And a lot of lingo, slang specifically, comes out of the Bay Area and it trickles down to LA. So even like something like the jerk scene in the late 2000s, early 2010s that happened in LA, that was spillover from the hyphy movement. Like those beats and all that spilled over from the hyphy movement. Then in LA, we created, the jerk dance and all that to it, which comes from other aspects in LA. But the Bay Area is very influential.
So we say finna. I'm finna go to the store. Like, that's some South shit, you know what I'm saying? That's and how we talk, it gauges from like the South and like the Bay Area. So like going to the store, we say finna. I'm finna go to the store. Like, that's some South shit, you know what I'm saying? That's not no LA, right?
Right.
So that energy right there and you making that correlation, it means a lot to me for people to understand that. And the culture and just being black, I can't help that, man. It's just not something that I think about or even try.
Yeah, right. What?
I'm black. It's just going.
It's not on you.
Yeah, it's gonna come out every time. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't downplay it.
Every time. That's some LA stuff, though. But yeah, I thought that was a good interview. It's like the first interview by Kendrick, video interview that we got in a while. So they was talking about rap and hip hop in 50 years. And, a lot of people don't realize it's even been here for 50 years. Hip hop is from the 70s, but rapping goes way back. And I even seen groups like the Jubilaires, they're rapping, and this goes way back. But this is the first record that I know of where it's called rapping. You can see it's by the Watts Prophets. The Watts Prophets is kind of adjacent to a group like the Last Poets, who I have their vinyl hanging up here, kind of like spoken word, very political, very, observational, which is where rap gets its roots. Like some of the first rap records, like Grandmaster Flash, The Message, where he's talking about, broken glass everywhere, people in the streets, pissing in the stairs, or this is what these guys were doing, the Watts Prophets and the Last Poets. And this isn't like some super underground thing that people didn't know about. I mean, the Watts Prophets are known in circles, but you can see even the term rapping, this goes way back. This predates the first hip hop record. This is from, it says 1971 Stereo. That's all I gotta say about that. I thought that was a really good interview by Kendrick. I thought I would just also pop up some LA trivia for you. Also, the first all hip hop radio station, the very first one is in LA. So I know New York get a lot of credit for a lot of, hip hop stuff, but LA, like we made our contributions too. And obviously the Bay Area, shout out to the Bay Area. I got a lot of love for the Bay Area. I lived out there for a brief moment out there in Oakland. I lived. So by Lake Merritt, by that Whole Foods. So yeah, anyways, that's all I got for today. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Post your comments about this Kendrick interview. What y'all think? Go watch the whole thing. I'll put the link in the description. Top5rapwebsite.com. Peace.